Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and welcome back to Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. Let's get into this shit, because before we begin, yes, I finally have Stop Barrier. At long last, I can finally rest. Yes, rest. Oh no, wait, hang on, we still got the rest of the commentary to go through. Anyway, it's time to go into deep space. Even though we're already in deep space, but whatever, this is just even deeper space. Is this meant to be space between the different worlds as in different worlds that we're traversing, or space as in the Lilo and Stitch universe space?
Is there any world they haven't found?
Well, I mean, technically it isn't really a world, it's more of a spaceship, so could you even technically count? Whatever, anyway, it's just another beat up the unversed Sugar Me Do, so I think it's time for a bit of trivia regarding Lilo and Stitch, and yeah, Stitch's creator, Chris Sanders, initially created the Stitch character for a kid's book in 1985 about a mischievous forest creature. And I mean, you can still technically see that in like a lot of Stitch's mannerisms, and particularly some of his character arc, both actually in this very level, and in turn also the Lilo and Stitch movie, where Lilo basically tries to rehabilitate this monstrous creature of destruction into, well, basically a good little boy. But does it work? Well, we'll just have to find out. Even though we don't actually see Lilo anywhere in this world, and we don't even get to go to Hawaii, which kinda sucks. Ah, well. Anyway, onwards to more story.
This looks like the Wayfinders. But how did it get here? Tell me, where did you get that?
Come out, you little trog!
Wait!
You there! As Experiment 626 passed through this area.
I don't understand. Experiment what?
Don't be dense. Dr. Jumba Jukiba's genetic abomination, 626. Small, blue, vicious?
Him? But he didn't look vicious.
Ah, so you have seen him.
Yes, he's in the ventilation system.
Blast! He got away again! Hold it right there. Why don't I know you? What section are you from?
I'm...
Trying to stow away, are we? I said stay close.
What is the meaning of this? Captain Gantu, did I not order you to apprehend the fugitives immediately?
Yes, and I will have them in custody soon. They'd be locked up already if those wretched monsters would just... I mean, if I hadn't uncovered this potential stowaway.
I wasn't trying to sneak on board. My name is Aqua. And those monsters, I followed them here. Please, I can handle this threat. Just give me a chance. Let me show you. The weapon I carry is the only one that can stop them.
Our weapons are of no use against them? Is this true?
Well, we haven't explored all our options.
Nor do we have time to. We are fortunate you are here, Aqua. Your assistance would be most welcome.
But Grand Councilwoman, you can't honestly believe what this stowaway says.
I think you'll find I can. We have a crisis. Jumba and 626 remain at large, and these monsters are obstructing attempts to apprehend them. Or did I mishear your latest excuse as to why you've again failed to carry out your duties, Captain? Will you help us?
Of course. Defeating them is my job. It's what I do best, ma'am.
Then might I make one other request? Should you happen upon our fugitives, please do whatever you can to apprehend them intact.
You want me to capture Dr. Jumba and Experiment 626?
But you can't just... That's my job!
You had your chance, Captain Gantu. Now you will stand down and await orders. We will monitor the location of the monsters and keep you apprised. Thank you for your help, Aqua.
Of course. Experiment 626 was carrying a wayfinder. I'd note that shape anywhere. Are Terra and Ven here too?
It's kind of weird, actually. To sort of talk about the level structure, I kind of like the way it sort of sets itself out. Okay, first things first, they also got the Grand Councilwoman's voice actress back. But again, I honestly think this sort of role fits Aqua a little bit better than most of the game, really, because as the studious, take orders in bed by 6, does all her homework, and, basically being a teacher's pet, as I mentioned beforehand, I sort of feel like the whole taking orders and, trying to work with the authority figures to sort of get things done, again, it feels like a more natural fit, and that's probably is partially to do with Eraqus's influence in terms of teaching his students, but I don't know, there's a lot of elements at play in the Lilo and Stitch world that really give Aqua a fair bit to do, and I think it plays to her character's strengths. I mean, again, primarily in the whole sort of obey orders, stopping evil and fighting the unversed or whatever, as well as, investigating the problems, namely apprehending Jukiba and, trying to find Stitch. I don't know, it structures this level in a very meaningful way for Aqua, and compared to everything else in the game where it's either they try to give her bits of personality that just don't really get fleshed out, like Aqua's date with Zack and her inexperience with, average social norms like, romance or going on a date or whatever. Or I suppose even in the Cinderella world where Aqua was like, oh my god, let me try on a shoe because I am a girl, but I'm clearly uncomfortable. I don't know, it doesn't really do things by half measures compared to some other levels in the game, or even just paltry attempts at, oh no, there's darkness here, guess I better go stop it and clean up the mess of those naughty boys. So yeah, to sort of summarize in brass tacks, this level's quite solid for just giving Aqua something to do, which sort of fits at least the mold of her character that we've seen thus far. Which I suppose, to sort of get into it, is probably part of the reason why some people might have a few problems with Aqua, in that she's got very little of her own personal being remaining, whereas, at least with characters like, Shion, Nomine, or even Kairi to some small extent, you at least see what drives them and, what sort of personality flourishes that they actually have, whereas Aqua is very much... I wouldn't call her stoic necessarily, but again, she does feel very sort of on the job. By the way, this is pussy penetration. It's similar to the whole sort of magic volley attack you get with Aqua's D-Link, but yeah, this is pretty much pussy penetration as it was meant to be. Shoving a sharp object into a sensitive area. And now for a new facet of the level that I don't... Well, actually, no, we technically did sort of get to do something similar to this as Ventus when he was chasing that creature in space, but now it's Aqua's time to shine where she finally gets to go into space using the Keyblade glider. Oh yeah. So yeah, we pretty much gotta take out all the unversed, and the the Keyblade glider does actually have a few unique attacks of its own. Again, Aqua, given her character, actually does get to use a Keyblade bow. Sort of similar to the Lingering Will, actually, where, you got to see him using a sort of bow and arrow-like weapon, but yeah, Aqua gets to do it too. Whoopee! And basically the best strategy I can really recommend for this is pretty much just, I don't know, just spinning around trying to take out all the unversed using that little pinball wheel. Not really too elegant, mind you, but, it's a decent enough minigame. I suppose it could potentially be a bit of a pisser if you're a wee bit underleveled, but I don't know, it's a decent segment while it lasts for me. Oh god. Is that a sound glitch, or was that meant to happen? Yeah, whatever.
This must be the Wayfinder that 626 was carrying around.
Something I was also thinking about during that brief cutscene, actually, was, again, you're going to be seeing it play out as Aqua finally does get back into contact with Stitch, but is Aqua meant to be the Lilo surrogate for this level? Because, I mean, again, in terms of level order, Terra visits first, again, obviously, because he's pretty much the one who freed Stitch and Jumper to begin with. Then we also have Ventus, who visits last and pretty much sees the end of this whole little shebang. And then, of course, we also have Aqua pretty much fulfilling the middle role, and while it doesn't exactly play out akin to the Lilo and Stitch movie, this is also seemingly Aqua's role to sort of like, well, not rehabilitate Stitch, but at least show that there's more of a side to this creature than, you know, the whole, Rog, I'm a little evil thing, short and stout, I'm gonna kill everybody, fuck off and die. Doom sound effects! Yeah, it's nice to know that even aliens in the far future can still run on Doom technology! Teleporting. Yeah, but anyway though, I mean, apart from anything else, Aqueist. Twist and twirl, and we have a map that's kinda useless at this stage. Also, I gotta say, coming up, right around here actually, yeah, pretty decent view for PSP standards. And I don't say that idly either, because again, I feel like the visuals are actually quite impressive with Birth by Sleep. And if you want a point in comparison, take a look at this game, and then take a look at Secret Agent Clank if you want to see some real PSP shite.
Look out! You must be Experiment 626. I have orders to take you in.
Sarah!
What? I think you and I need to talk. But first things first.
Artificially engineering gameplay scenarios because, oh no, Disney character, the heartless nobody's unversed are coming. Quick, run away while I do some fighting. I mean, I did mention this in previous Kingdom Hearts games that Birth by Sleep is by far the most guilty of this, but Jesus Christ, it's I don't know, it's just a cheap way of engineering gameplay. Because, I mean, what exactly does this add to Stitch's more benevolent nature apart from he helps Aqua? But anyway, that's also stop barrier in action. Excellent. Whee! Fastball special. Come on, teleporting. There's really not much to this just apart from arbitrary gameplay, so there's not really much to talk about, if anything, but thankfully, I don't know, it's got brevity to its name, which is more than I can say for certain other segments of the game.
Thanks. I owe you. What is it you're looking for?
Sarah!
Huh? Wait! I just need to ask you!
Dr. Jumba and Experiment 626 have been sighted. At that time, the two of them were wandering around the launch deck. Would you see that they're secured?
Is Experiment 626 really that dangerous of a creature?
We must assume so.
Alright then. I'll head over there now.
And now we have more commute, which is no other time than to talk about some trivia that I've been wanting to talk about for a while now. And, again, I did sort of mention this beforehand, like, all the way back in Vince's story, but, yeah, it's also to do with, Lilo and Stitch's creator actually coming back to voice Stitch in the game, because, you know, he was also the voice of Stitch in the movie. As for why he left Disney but seemingly came back, I have no idea, but I'll at least elucidate on the reason why he seemingly had a falling out with the company. And, yeah, a lot of that was to do with the production of the movie, Bolt, which, for those of you who don't remember, it was pretty much a movie about, like, a movie star dog who played, like, a superhero and actually believed that he was a superhero in real life. Again, I don't blame you if you don't remember it. I only remember seeing previews and never saw the movie for myself, mind you, but, yeah, as I came to learn, that movie had a very troubled production history. When it came to Bolt, executives disagree with some of the more mature tone and plotting of Sanders' version, which otherwise had executive meddling, because this was also Sanders working with Pixar, as opposed to, you know, traditional animation, which Lilo and Stitch had. And, basically, he didn't really have to deal with this in his earlier projects, but he also came into clash with John Lasseter, who was, again, one of the big Pixar heads. And, Lasseter seemed to have some sort of grudge against Sanders, since, again, he hated Lilo and Stitch, and, well, yeah, they basically messed with the plot of the movie. Sanders' version was out, and they pretty much reworked it into the movie that we have today. It does strike me as a wee bit odd as to what Lasseter really had against Sanders, but I don't know, I guess personal grudges run deep, egos clashing. Yeah, it's weird, actually. But I mean, you know, credit to Sanders where it's due, because I mean, he is a good sport. He did come back and voice Stitch in, you know, Birth by Sleep. I believe in, like, more recent projects. I don't know who voices Stitch now, but I think it was, I want to say Ben Diskin, but that might just be for, like, certain, you know, bizarro projects like that weird Chinese Stitch cartoon, or that bizarre Lilo and Stitch anime that existed at one point in time. You know, the whole thing that tried to be a pseudo-continuation where Lilo had a boyfriend, Stitch got angry and fucked off. I don't know, you try making some coherent sense out of it. It probably wasn't even meant to be connected to begin with. And yeah, apart from that, bit of a shame really, because I mean, as I mentioned beforehand, Lilo and Stitch was probably one of the bigger Disney movies I actually cared about in my childhood, because, I don't know. I mean, again, I saw the original movie, I watched the animated series as it was airing, and, you know, I mean, it's really saying something when I also went out of my way to watch some like the direct-to-DVD, like, Disney films, which, yeah, compared to anything else I didn't really give a shit about, but Lilo and Stitch was pretty much the one thing I did, so, yeah, take that for what you will. Anyway, since we also have more of the fighting Sugar Me Do, another bit of trivia. It was actually a deleted scene from Lilo and Stitch, which had pretty much had the heroes hijacking a plane and weaving through tall buildings. And I want to remind you that this movie initially came out in 2002. Guess what significant event happened 1 year prior? Yeah, that's also why later on in the movie they basically changed the whole hijacking an airplane to basically changing the design of Jumper's spaceship to resemble, well, again, if you look closely, like the engines of like I think it was like a Boeing 747 airplane. So, yeah, that's part of the reason why Jumper's ship looks bizarrely earthbound for what it is, and also why certain decisions, well, can have the most unintended of consequences. But anyway, this is also a pretty fun room, which, okay, we already technically saw it as Ventus, but fuck it, I might as well explain it as we go through Spellweaver. I believe you can get me through the night. Because, yeah, we also have an anti-gravity room. I mean, we'll access it as soon as we're done just, you know, doing a whole beat up the heartless Sugar Me Do. But in turn, though, it's, again, quite a fun gimmick, and I suppose at the end of the day, this is also what really sells me on the level, at least in terms of what Aqua's story really is, because, again, we have a goal, we're accomplishing things, there's some character development to be had, and again, we also have some fun and unique gameplay elements to just keep us invested, which is more than what I can really say for the likes of Disney Town, which is mainly gimmick-based. Olympus Coliseum, which, I mean, really depends on whether or not you like the whole arena gimmick. But again, there's also not really a lot of personal investment on Aqua's storyline beyond Terra, Ventus, are you there? And yeah, that's probably why Deep Space is a bit of a highlight for me in terms of what the game actually tries to do. No, that's about all I have, really. Again, a lot of the, at this point, is just commu, really. And collecting stickers. Stop! I always like the stop abilities in the 3D space. I mean, again, these abilities do also exist in Final Fantasy as well, but I don't know, in the way in which Kingdom Hearts handles it, where enemies just sort of stop and the damage doesn't continue until, time continues, is just delicious. Excuse me, my schnoz was feeling a little bit cloggery. Whimsy of deep space, and now we also have Prism Rain, which I'm not quite sure if you can actually command meld, but if not, then I'm pretty sure it's one of Aqua's unique shotlock abilities. But yeah, as you can probably also tell in regards to the shotlock abilities, again, they all have very specific... Excuse me, they all have very specific, like, attack styles. Like, again, you either have the, the sort of Ragnarok style abilities, which is basically just using your shotlock as a laser blaster. You have, others which are basically burst projectiles, where, again, if you charge it up fully, then you can basically just launch, like, burst projectiles by continuing to press X. And, then you also have rush shotlocks, which is pretty much stuff like, Sonic Shadow, Absolute Zero, that sort of thing. So again, it does make for some very unique abilities, it's just that they have 3 types and they pretty much just vary them by aesthetics. I don't think they change necessarily in power, like, use Prism Rain as you're seeing here, you've pretty much used something similar to Ragnarok. So, yeah, I mean, the way you utilize them is, very par for the course, but at the same time though, it's also, decent fun. You get some change-ups, and Prism Rain also has some beautiful rainbow color scheme. Yes, a fine vintage of this picnic in the sticker book. One for the ages. Anyway, cutscene go now of epic proportions.
It's time to give up. Then I will fix abnormality, and ridiculous behavior stops.
Hold it right there.
Huh?
Dr. Jumba. Experiment 626. I've been authorized to take you into custody. So it really does belong to you. But where have you seen that shape?
His copy he made of good luck charm that boy Terra showed to him. Terra said friend gave him charm, was very protective of it.
He really said that to you?
Yes.
Then you're still alright, Terra.
And now, because of Terra and his little bauble, my genius creation is hesitating in his genetically programmed destructive instincts. Just look at him.
Huh?
What are you doing? Our orders are to capture them alive.
I've decided to take a new approach. All right, you two. Any last words before I blast you into 1,000,000 pieces?
Lala Patuki!
I'm just Big Bone! Freeze!
Stop it!
I warned you, stay out of it!
I guess we have to do this the hard way.
So, in one corner we have a live, compassionate woman, and in the other corner, Kevin Michael Richardson voicing a big bone space whale. Oh yeah. Now, I pretty much did also try and prolong the boss battle just so we could include, a bit more of a stitch on the characters interacting, because, one thing I did kind of regret when I was, recording Ventus' story was that I didn't really get to use, his and Stitch's team-up command. But yeah, this is primarily my way of, well, not only also testing, like, to see whether or not Stop Barrier would actually work on bosses. It obviously didn't in regards to Captain Gantu, but, yeah. There you go. Anyway, when you see Stitch start jumping, similar to, when you teamed up with him earlier on in the game, that's pretty much your cue to basically just pull off a fastball special. In this case, it doesn't really do much damage to Gantu, it pretty much just blinds him for a little bit while you just, take him down. The only real things I can really recommend is either just attacking him normally, since Gantu isn't really too much of a threat that you really need to worry about, but yeah, I mean, apart from just going to town on him with your magic abilities, the only thing I can really suggest is just either beating him up a lot, using pussy penetration, or basically just only really blocking when he does his whole little Devil May Cry 3 gunslinger thing where he just shoots around and round and round and round and round. But yeah, Magic Hour just pretty much finished him off. That's the end of Aqua's involvement in this world, and Captain Gantu is back on patrol. Not patrol.
I'm not done with you yet.
Enough! I observed everything on the monitor.
I can explain.
You've been of great service, Aqua. Thank you. Captain Gantu, escort 626 to the asteroid to which he's been banished. When you return, you're back on patrol.
Not patrol.
Please, Your Highness, would you consider sparing Experiment 626?
Spare him. He's an extremely dangerous creature. I cannot release such a menace.
But it seems to me he's at least trying to make friends. And dangerous or not, I really believe he can succeed.
Very well, Aqua. If he behaves himself, I will consider shortening his exile.
Thank you, ma'am. I like the charm you made. Do you think maybe my circle of friends could become part of yours? My name is Aqua. My friends are Terra and Ventus.
Aqua. Terra.
And thus it was Aqua who was responsible for Stitch's path to goodness. Take that, Lilo, I guess. But, anyway, we all pretty much know how the story ends. Ventus helps Stitch bust out, and then Stitch goes to Radiant Garden, or possibly Hawaii, who knows. But anyway, Aqua's path leads us to Neverland, so on that note, I'm Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, and next time, we're off to Never Neverland. Da-na-na.